We are back for another episode 4 of developing SpeedLou. We have created our WebSocket managers and our WebSocket instances, and we want to start creating the instance on the mobile so we can communicate with our server WebSocket. So first, I will create a client instance of WebSocket. We already have our monorepo since the last episode. We will try to find a good architecture for this. Let's start to explore what are our options for this. Alright, so we will install the WebSocket client. We have the command here to install it. Let's go ahead and install it. Perfect. Okay, so we asked Claude to do a starting point. We created the services and WebSocket index. This is for handling our WebSocket. He is going to start to understand the API and then going over to our app. So he's seeing what we have. Very nice that he is basing himself on what we already have created on. Oh, there it is. Okay, so he's using types. Let's say to him, this will most likely change on the future. So make sure that you do it just a starting point with ability to. Okay, this way he can have a little bit more context of what we need right now. Okay, so we have some stuff. So when it comes to all of this stuff, Socket.io has reconnection out of the box. He's going a little bit over the top for this. Alright guys, you can see that I achieved connection between the namespace and our API. So we have our API running here, and as you can see, welcome to this namespace. Let me go over what I did here so you can understand what was done to achieve this. I have a very straightforward socket manager class that manages our Socket.io instance. We connect under a namespace and we verify if this main namespace is being used previously. Then we initialize our socket with our specific namespace. It's mandatory on our case, we will not have a main socket. And we connect, we just show a little feedback, and there it is. Then when it is done, we set the namespace and we return the socket. Then we just have some cool events here. You can see that we do the event to disconnect, we do the emit event, and we do the on event. These events are made so they are used specifically on other classes. So you will see, for example, I will go here into squad socket. You see that I initialize my socket manager here, and I say that he has to connect to this namespace with this authentication, which goes into the constructor of the squad socket, and then we set up the event handlers. It uses this dot namespace always. We can do whatever we'd like here. Then we have some other events. These ones are the ones that we send to the server. As you can see, we made the denomination as squad.entity.action. So it's essentially the name of the namespace, the entity, and then the action that we are associating to the entity. I made a test here on the active socket. As you can see, I created a available sockets object and I decided just to make a test here. So the active socket is created. Why am I doing this, you ask? Because as you know, we are using the map context provider for us to manage most of this stuff. So this means that we need to have the flexibility to switch and activate socket on the go and make the app behave on a certain way depending on the socket that we have selected. So that's why we make this active socket thing. This will be more developed on the future, and it will probably depend on a state variable or just imperative handle. I will just focus on the quad socket for now, but in the future we can take a look on how we are going to do this implementation to be more generic and to manage between different sockets. So I think I should at least take a look over this and try to pay close attention to any details that might have gone by. So I will be back in a bit. Alright, I made a little adjustment. I just decided to put this Expo public API. Alright, there it is. So as you can see, I changed it up a little bit just so it's more suitable in this situation that we will do. All right, there it is. So we did some readjustments and we made it so the socket has only one socket connected at a time. We don't need simultaneous sockets, so I just made sure that if the socket is already connected, it returns the socket. The socket URL, as you can see, we set it with the namespace directly, and we just set the auth.config here directly also. You can see that we defined the constructor to set the config, and we pass the namespace on the constructor, and this way we can just do a socket manager on without passing the namespace every time we are doing something. It's not as generic, but we did not need all of that genericness, you know, because we are only having one action being done at the time. So if squad riding is active, you will not be able to do lap tracking or other modes that we might create. So wouldn't really make sense to have multiple things activated at the same time. So my plan right now is every time I click on the button of squad riding, it will create a new room automatically, and the room will be real-time room. You have a link automatically that you can join the room. Every time a change is made, you can see the location that is selected every time that you join it. You can see the members that are joining in real time also, and you can see everything that is happening on the room in real time while the owner of the room is changing the settings. If you create a room, what will happen if you don't change anything? You will come back, the socket will disconnect and delete the database record. If you already have changed something, I might show, for example, are you sure you want to go back, just for the people not to leave the room and delete the room with people inside or with a location selected. And when everything is selected and done, the persons will be able to click the ready button, and when everyone is ready, it begins and it goes back and it starts with navigation mode. We initialize the socket connection also when we join here. So we have a lot of stuff to do when it comes to database processing and socket management for this specific page. But I think I will leave that for the next episode. I want to think a little bit more about this structure. This way I have some time to wonder. In the last 3 days we already made big advancements. Thank you very much for watching. It was a shorter episode today. Next episode will be starting to develop the squad riding page, creating the room when we enter, and when exiting, closing the room if nothing is selected. I think that we have a cool episode ahead of us. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.